Oh man, if you think the Warriors drama was done with KD's, ghosts haunting the Chase Center, or the 73-9 heartbreak still echoing in every corner, buckle up. Because the latest swirl in Dub Nation is about to flip the script again, and it's messier than a broken Curry 3 bouncing off the rim in crunch time. Picture this. Wild memes erupting like wildfire on Warriors Twitter, angry calls flooding local sports radio, and actual fans staging mock protests outside Chase like, what the hell are you doing with our guys? But here's the kicker. They're not screaming about Draymond or even Steph this time. Nah, the plot twist comes from a name that's been orbiting the edges of our collective Warriors psyche, Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, that Wiggins, the one who went from our once maligned Thief Churn championship piece to, well, apparently someone Miami's about to dump like hot trash straight into the arms of the Lakers. Hold up, rewind. Miami? Lakers? Wiggins? This isn't some casual rumor you scroll past like a clickbait article. It's the Phantom Menace creeping over the NBA horizon, and if history has taught us anything, hell, if the curse of Oracle Arena has hammered it into our souls, it's that the Warriors don't just lose players. They lose legends, pieces of their identity sprinkled away in dumpster trades dipped in cold corporate greed and backroom deals. Remember that We Believe magic? The underdog uprising from nowhere that felt like basketball's greatest love story. Or our undeniable heartbreaks, the betrayal headline after headline when KD dipped for the darker money at Brooklyn, crushing a city's dream under a pile of dollars. Or Clay setting the silencer with one of those Game 6 Finals explosions, only for it to be underscored by so many rumbling ownership whispers about cuts and caps and vision for the future. Yeah, so we know the drill. Now, here's the setup. Miami Heat, that icy team never afraid to get their hands dirty, could soon be tossing Wiggins, a guy who just finished a solid streak with 19 points a game in Miami. Remember, in a trade that might land him on the Lake Show's doorstep. And why? Because Miami's staring at a $30 million salary option hanging over their head like a guillotine. Luxury tax strains, roster space nightmares, all the bureaucratic jargon front offices love to toss around to justify gutting rosters and tampering with fan dreams. Meanwhile, the Lakers sniffing around with their own anxiety LeBrons, Twilight making everyone sweat. Luka Doncic needing help desperately suddenly see Wiggins as a potential piece to rebuild their faded glory. Hold on, Lakers interested in Wiggins? It's like watching a soap opera where the hero turns villain by stepping into the arms of the rival. Like seeing your ex show up at your enemy's game wearing your jersey. So now imagine the chaos brewing in the Warriors fan base. Hearts pounding, because isn't this deja vu smacking us right in the face? Haven't they done this before? The money-driven move narrative feels like a cynical rerun. Sacrifice the heart and hustle for the cold math of payroll adjustments. That $28.2 million for 2025 to 2026, that $30.1 million option looming over Wiggins' head at 31 years old. To Miami's front office, that's just a liability, a luxury tax liability with a pulse. So if they pull the trigger, sending Wiggins packing, guess what? The Heat could be trying to reload around Bam Adebayo and Tyler Herro, chasing fresh faces in free agency's seductive, yet uncertain glow. But here's the real kicker nobody's talking about. What does this mean for the Warriors' soul? Wiggins wasn't just a player. He was the redemption arc we hung our hats on after the 2019 draft dust settled. A guy who went from being a highlight mix of unreal athleticism but frustrating inconsistency to the unofficial six-man hero who helped squeeze out our 2022 championship. Now we're about to watch him go full circle, not back to Golden State, but worse maybe to a franchise historically seen as our arch-rival's alternate universe. Money talks, loyalty walks, right? But what kind of dynasty blinks at this? What kind of ownership sandwiches our legends between salary, caps, and strategic moves, threatening the very foundation of what made this team more than just a squad, but a family? I mean, seriously, who looks at the guy who literally held us together during the biggest stretches of doubt and says, hey, trade him for money space? It's almost criminal. And while everyone's scrambling to digest Luka's fresh heavy extension deal, $165 million over 3 years, securing the Slovenian star's grip on LA's future, the Lakers are eyeing Wiggins like he's just another pawn in some NBA power chess game. There's even whispers that the Lakers hesitated on pursuing Wiggins until Luka's future was set in stone. You telling me that the fortunes of the Warriors' former star are now entangled with Lakers' ambitions for Luka? Talk about a crossover that stings Dub Nation deep. Now picture the reaction from the hardcore Warriors' faithful anger mixed with disbelief, shaking their heads like, is this really how it ends for Wiggins? The guy who was supposed to be part of the next great chapter, now just fodder in the heat of salary cap wars. And while Miami is playing chess with cash, and LA is busy juggling aging stars like LeBron, somewhere amid all this, the Warriors front office sits silent, or perhaps calculating the next big wave of strategic moves that might just hollow out the core fans care about. It's never just about the game, is it? It's about the betrayal, the slow drip of heartbreak, that nagging feeling that the franchise we believed in is being sold one trade at a time. The maddening, crushing irony? We've seen steeper falls. KD's departure was like a dagger. The 73-9 season collapse and earthquake. The post-Curry ankle injury's a literal nightmare in slow motion. But this Wiggins possibly shipped off again, not due to performance, but salary cap constraints. That's a new kind of betrayal. It's corporate coldness strangling our athletic heroes, and if you thought the worst was over, think again. Here's a nugget hardly anyone's throwing into the crowd. Wiggins was just beginning to carve a niche in Miami, lighting it up with near 20 points per game, quietly shaking off those Warriors bench narratives, ready to play his role in a playoff chase. Yet, what's the uproar if he's suddenly maneuvered out in favor of financial gymnastics? It's almost like the team's loyalty is proportional to a spreadsheet, and hours of devoted fan bases is measured in heartbreak. So if Andrew Wiggins is the villain in this new saga, not just abandoned, but pawned off like some expendable asset, what does that say about the Warriors front office, that mythical vision, and the stewardship of a dynasty? And hold on tight, because this isn't just about one player getting shipped out the back door. It's the slippery slope. What if this is just the opening act? What if the next expensive superstar is next in line to be sacrificed on the altar of cap space and future flexibility? Can Dub Nation survive another round of this slow unraveling? Or are we headed for the cold heart of a franchise that once inspired a city to believe in miracles, now forced to brace for the next blow? We've lived the miracles. We've lived the heartbreaks. This might be one for the books. So what's your move, Dub Nation? Does this feel like the collapse of a dynasty? Or just a setup for an even wilder, more chaotic next chapter? Drop your takes in the chaos below. Because if you think this storm's done shaking the Warriors' world, trust me, it's only just begun. How much betrayal can Dub Nation endure? Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next meltdown in Warriors drama. Because what's about to surface will blow the roof off everything you thought you knew about this so-called rebuilding phase. Remember when the Warriors were the unstoppable force, the poster child for loyalty and beating the odds? Now they're a house of cards, and the villain behind it all is no faceless executive lost in the shadows. It's a deliberate, calculated purge led from the very top, a betrayal that dances between greed, short-sightedness, and pure disdain for the fan base's heartbeat. The same ownership group that once championed the dynasty, the same front office that traded for Kevin Durant thinking it was adding a crown jewel, have repeatedly stabbed Dub Nation in the back, each move peeling the golden veneer off the Warriors' legacy and exposing rot beneath. They still hold on to the delusion that if they swap locker room leaders, bench players, and draft picks, it's all just part of the business. No, this is a shutdown, a cold war against everything the Warriors brand has stood for. And yes, this includes Steph Curry, who is reportedly furious but forced to play along under the threat of disrupting the fragile league image they've meticulously crafted. We watched the Durant saga fracture golden unity, The 73-9 heartbreak planting seeds of paranoia and blame that morphed into obsession with replacing legacy players. And the "we believe" collapse reminding us the Warriors aren't invincible. But what's truly unforgivable now is how exposure to scandal and backdoor politics have become the norm. The front office leaks against Kerr over divided loyalties, the subtle reigniting of old Draymond versus Kerr tensions, and rumors that senior management actively undermines their own coaching staff to pave the way for rebrand. The narrative swirling in courtside whispers isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about who's running the franchise like a rigged game, where money talks louder than loyalty and social media spin replaces accountability. The latest expose reveals a chilling pattern. Trades and signings designed less for performance and more for cannibalizing salary cap space to appease ownership's tangled web of sponsor obligations and arena deals gone sour. As rival cities mock the Warriors, once great now mean status, and Lakers fans celebrate every misstep, Dub Nation bleeds silently, split between hope and heartbreak, unsure whether to rally or revolt. But here's the piece no one is daring to talk about. Remember Lucy? The Warriors' enigmatic VP, once heralded as a visionary behind their marketing magic. Word is, she was quietly pushed out after exposing financial irregularities linked to the glow surrounding the Chase Center's funding, forcing ownership to claw desperately to cover up major vulnerabilities in their empire. That internal gamble cost players trust, alienated locker room chemistry, and shredded the narrative of a unity-driven dynasty. This scandal is less about scoreboard flukes and more about collapsing trust at the DNA level of Golden State basketball. The mid-level executives and former stars watching this chaos unfold are reportedly dividing, some quietly advocating for a brand new leadership while others cling to nostalgia, desperate to preserve the past at any cost. What happens to Steph, the heart and soul who has carried this franchise through every inch of heartbreak, from KD's abrupt departure to the crushing 2016 finals loss, finally decides he's done? Done with the politics and power games poisoning the team? What if this is the last straw before the dynasty unravels beyond repair? Before the Warriors sink into years of suffering mocked by every rival, abandoned by their own? There's already talk in the rumor mill that a silent faction in front office circles wants to rebuild from scratch. No more McCall, no more Wiggins, no more Kerr, and maybe no more Curry. And if the very architects of the Warriors' past glory are willing to burn the foundation for the next generation, what future could possibly be left for Dub Nation but ashes and echoes of what once was? Because if this is how they're treating the franchise's living legend, just imagine the chaos when the next superstar walks into this death trap of politics and power grabs, an environment where trust is currency long spent, and loyalty is just another exploit to be sold to the highest bidder. This is no ordinary decline. It's a full-blown implosion, a story etched with betrayal sharper than any rival's jab, darker than the night of the 2016 finals collapse, and more cynical than the KD era's bitter exit. It's not just the scoreboard that's broken. It's the soul of a dynasty disintegrating into the exact fire they once survived. As a Warriors fan who's seen every miracle and heartbreak, I can't shake the fear this might be the breaking point. Is it the end of everything we built, or the twisted rebirth of Dub Nation? Every time the Warriors stumble, I feel like we're on the brink, and this time, the bottom might be closer than we ever dared imagine.